Alright guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today we are going to learn how to draw or how to identify planes in hexagonal crystal system or crystal structure or hexagonal unit cell. So let's start with this before I go to the main questions. Explanation for this, right? We are going to be treating each and every one of them individually. So let's start with this shaded portion down here, right? So in an hexagon, remember that I said what matters to us is A1, A2, and our Z, or you can call it C, right? And here in crystallographic plane, we refer to this as our H, our K, and our L. Then we get to convert it to H, K, I, L. So our I is unknown, which is the A3. So whatever we are doing, we are not concerned with A3. So to find our I, it is equal to minus open bracket our H plus our K, right? That's the formula to find our I. So let's just go ahead and let's begin to solve all of these equations. So as I was saying, we're going to start with this shaded portion down here, right? So to start with it, we need to take note that our shaded portion is at the point of origin. This is our point of origin, right? This is it right here. I'm just going to shade it like that's our point of origin. So I'm using this to explain. This is our point of origin. So the shaded portion is right on the floor here, as shown in that diagram. So the issue is we cannot take coordinates at the ground floor like this at the point of origin. We are always going to shift it upwards, right? Sorry, I don't really know how to draw the hexagon, or pardon my drawing. We're going to shift it somewhere here to the top, right? We would always shift it to the very top. That's the distance away from the point of origin, which is here. So we are going to consider this place as our shaded portion. We are going to shift it away from our point of origin. So this is where we would consider, knowing that this place is our point of origin, 0, 0, 0, right? So we won't be looking at it here. We'll be looking at it at the top there. So this is what we are going to do now. We are considering this place as shaded in that other image. So this would be our point of origin. So I had to create this image to explain to us various directions. So we know this is the green lines are the green arrows are our positive direction, then the red portion is our negative direction, right? So let's begin to take our reading. So first of all, seeing this shaded portion at the top, if I was doing the normal cubic unit cell Miller indices, I'm just going to assume that my Z is 1 and every other direction is what's it called, is 0. But no, we are not going to jump. Let's do it like the right way. So from our point of origin here, sorry, I think I don't even really know, but let's just use this. So from our point of origin here, there's nothing or no plane traveling on our A1. Remember, we are concerned about our A1, our A2, and our Z, which is our H, K, L. So from this origin right here, nothing is happening towards the direction of our A1, right? Nothing is happening there. There's no shaded portion. So we get to put 0. So this is what we did. We check this direction. There's nothing there. The shaded portion is not there. It's at the top here. So we check our A2 also. We come from point of origin. Check it towards our A2. Nothing is happening there also. We are not meeting any shaded portion there. So we get to put 0. Right, so from our point of origin, we get to go on our Z direction. So when we go upwards on Z direction right here, we are able to touch, our shaded portion right here. So we are able to like touch our shaded portion. So at this point, we decide our Z is 1. So it doesn't end there. Next, what we want to do is we want to convert it into 4 indices, right? Miller-Bravais indices. Remember, I said our I, which is the unknown, is equal to our negative open bracket H plus K. So here, our I is equal to what's our minus, our H is 0, and our K is also 0, which is I is equal to 0. So therefore, our HKL or our indices is going to be 0, 0, 0, 1. So as you can see, we got it as stated there, right? So let's try another one. I want to erase all of my steps here so we can try another one. Erase. I think erasing it this way is faster. So I go to delete. Now let's do the next one, which is this shaded portion. So for this one now, you can see that it is away from our point of origin, so we really don't need to shift towards one, like we don't need to shift it that same direction, the same direction, one distance or something. So we just take our reading. So remember when I said our A3 does not matter, all we need is our A1, A2 and our Z. So that's what we're going to trace. So since this is our point of origin, right, and our shaded portion is somewhere here, our shaded portion is somewhere here, so we get to read on our A1, A2, A3. So on our A1, when I trace it positive this direction, nothing is happening. So I know it's not positive, but when I shade it backwards, right? When I shade backwards from our origin, 0, 0, 0, 0, sorry, this is our origin. So when I shade it backwards on our negative direction of A1, so I get to like touch, like I'm able to touch this plane, right? So I get to note that my A1 is a -1, right? So next, I check on my A2. So when I go on my A2, nothing is happening, so I just erase it. Let's see if it's negative. So I get to check the negative. Sorry, I get to check the negative direction also. Nothing is happening, so I just take note that my A2 is 0. Then for my Z, when I check my Z, nothing is happening, right? I'm like, I traveled from origin right here, I traveled upward on Z, but the thing is I'm not touching this plane. This plane is right here. I'm unable to touch the plane at all. You get? So since I'm unable to touch the plane, I just noted that my Z is 0. So some of us might now make the mistake and say, oh, let me check A3. If I go on A3, so I know that, oh yes, it's +1. I know my A3 is 1. Cool. You were able to figure that your A3 is equal to 1, but sorry, is equal to 1, not 0. But don't dare doing that. That is wrong. You need to solve it out. You need to denote it. So what I do now is this is my H, K, and L. So we convert it to H, K, I, L. So our I, which is the coordinates for our A3, so we get to do minus open brackets, minus open bracket our H, which is -1 plus 0, right? So minus cancels, minus 1 plus 0 is -1, so minus cancel minus, so our I is equal to 1. Can you see we got our A3, which is our I, which is the same 1. So please always solve it out this way. Don't just assume that, okay, because you were able to read it here, it is 1, you get to put your 1 answer. No, please and please always solve it out. They want to see the solvings for your A3. So when you're taking note of your coordinates, remember your A3 is useless. You can only use it to know, to compare your answer, but don't use it to like give your answers. Just okay, use it to compare your answer, like okay, yeah, it's 1 there, and when I solved it I go on, so I'm on the right path and on the right track. So we got this to be, oh, I just erased our answer, sorry. So let's write out our coordinate. Our coordinate is bar 1 0 1 0. So that's the plane. Did I get it? So we have bar 1 0 1 0. Yeah, so we got that. I'm gonna go ahead and erase it once again. So delete. Now let's do the last plane, then we begin to solve the exercise. Okay, so for the last plane, which is this guy, right, which is this guy, how do I replicate that here? I don't really know how to draw, but let's just do it this way. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Cool. Yeah, so remember I said we are looking for our A1, our A2 and our A2 and our Z, right? So we begin to check from our point of origin, which is right here. This is our point of origin. So we trace it on A1. When we go positive A1, we are able to touch that plane, like this shaded plane. We are able to touch it. So we get to denote our A1 is positive. So we don't need to check backwards, because if we go backwards here, nothing is happening. So it's not negative, it's positive. So all you need to always do is trace from your origin, trace on that line. So if you're able to touch that plane that is being drawn, then you denote it as whatever coordinate it is, be it half, be it 1/3, be it 1. So you get to put that down. So for our A2, oh damn, I already shaded so much on our A2, but let's use this place to do that. Let's do, so this is our A2. So when I trace from my point of origin to A2, I'm unable to touch the plane. Remember, the plane is not on the floor here. It is not on the floor, it is this direction, like it's leaning on the air, right? So tracing it this direction, it's my A2 is 0. Let's check it here also. So can you see A2 is passing under? I would have come out like this. It's not touching it. This is my A2. So my A2 is 0. It's passing under, it's not touching it at all, right? So let's check on our Z from our origin. When we travel on Z, we go upwards, so we are able to touch our plane. So we shade our plane out and we call that 1. So this is our H, K, and our L. So let's look for our I is equal to negative H plus K plus k. So it's denoted as minus open bracket 1 plus 0. Sorry, 0, close my bracket. So it's equal to minus 1. So when I write my coordinates, it's going to be 1, 0, bar 1, 1. So am I correct? Yeah, I'm correct as stated here. So guys, let's go on and solve the exercise. In case you have any question, drop it in the comment section, and yeah, let's go ahead and solve for the exercise as stated or shown below. All right guys, so let's do that of A right here. Let's start with A. So remember I said we are concerned about our A1, A2, and our Z. A3, we don't have any business with it. We'll always solve out for our A3. So from our point of origin, which is this place, 0, 0, 0, we are traveling towards this direction of this shaded plane, right? So we are going towards the shaded plane. Remember, you always start from A1, go to A2, and go to the Z. Don't jump any steps. So this is also our H, this is our K, and this is our L. So from our origin, when we travel on, so from our origin, when we travel on A1, we are not touching the plane shaded above here. So we get to denote that as 0. So when we travel on our K, which is A2, at the same time, we are unable to touch this plane here. Our movement never touched this plane. So we are going to denote that as 0 as well. So when we travel on our Z, we are able to touch the plane, but something is happening. This is our full Z portion, right? This is a full Z portion. So since it is stopping at half the length, we're going to denote that as half. Okay, so in continuation, we're going to take the inverse of this, right? So we're going to take the reciprocal of this, which will give us infinity, infinity, and 2 over 1 is 2, right? So next we have to look for our I. Our I is equal to minus h plus k, into bracket. So to find our I, we say minus open bracket our h, which is 0 or infinity, but we're going to use the main coordinate and not this. We're going to use the main coordinate, this number. So 0 plus our k, which is also 0. So we get to know that our I is equal to 0. So by the time we take our coordinates for the whole structure, we know that our A, let me write this. Our A is equal to, opening of brackets, we have 0, 0, 0, 2. So this is the answer to our plane for A. So guys, now let's solve for B. This is our A. So for our B, we begin to solve. So remember, this plane is sitting on our point of origin, right? So remember I said we would always move it forward the positive direction, not negative direction. By the time we move it forward positive direction, let me erase this so we don't cause confusion. By the time we move it forward positive direction, I'm sure the plane will fall somewhere here like this, right? Remember, you cannot read it when it is on the origin. You have to move it forward the positive direction. So since we moved it forward the positive direction, now let's begin to take our reading. So we have our H, K, and our L, which is the same A1, A2, and our Z. So from our point of origin here, when we move forward on A1, we're able to touch the plane, the shaded portion, right? So we get to denote that as 1. Sorry, this is A1. So we get to denote that as 1. So we check for our A2. A2 is behind, like it's behind, it's not in front, it's behind. Sorry that I'm shading and it's showing here. So originally it's going to travel like behind here. This is where our A2 is going through. Let me erase that. So the A2 is behind. Remember, our shaded portion is in front here, but our A2 is behind here, down at the down part. So yeah, I'm gonna erase that now. And since it's not touching our plane, we get to denote that as 0. Then our L, when we travel upwards, we are not touching our plane from origin right here. When we travel upwards, we are not touching our plane also, so we denote that as 0. So we don't need to take reciprocal here. It's just 1, 0, 0. So let's just look for our I, which is equal to negative h plus k, and our answer is going to be equal to minus open bracket 1 plus 0, which is negative 1. So by the time we take our hkl, sorry, let me just do that, minus 1. So by the time we take away our hkil, we have it to be B is equal to, we have 1, 0, our I, which is bar 1, and our Z, which is 0. So here's the final answer for our B. So for our C, we get to take this as our point of origin, right? So since this is our point of origin, remember we are concerned about our A1, A2, and our Z, which is our HKL, HK, and our L. So from our point of origin, we travel on 1, positive A1, sorry. So positive A1 does not lead us to the plane. So we're going to try negative A1, which is this direction, right? So here is what I'm talking about. This is our positive A1 and this is our negative A1. Always check both your positive and negative. I'm not checking that because I already know my negative will not lead me anywhere. So that's why I didn't check in the previous questions. So yeah, please always check, make sure you check your positive and negative directions. All right, so checking for my positive direction again, let's start again. On my A1 positive direction, it does not touch my plane, so I erase that. I try to check my negative direction. Oh yes, it touches my plane. I'm able to like reach my plane, my shaded portion right here. So I get to put that as a -1, right? Then let's go again for our A2 from our point of origin. So point of origin, we go on our positive A2 first. Oh yeah, we're able to touch our point of origin, so we denote that as 1. So for our Z also, let me erase this. For our Z, from the point of origin, when I travel upwards, yeah, I'm able to touch our shaded portion. So yeah, I can travel on our shaded portion. So I denote that as 1. So let's take look for our I. I is equals to minus H plus K. So therefore, our I is equal to I want to minimize space. Our I is equals to negative. Sorry. Our I is equals to negative minus 1 plus 1. I think this is 0, so minus 0. So our I is equal to 0, right? So by the time we take our HQ, by the time we take the indices of the plane, we have bar 1, 1, 0, and 1. So this is for our C. C is equal to this. Now let's solve for our D. So solving for our D, remember I said we'll always check our positive direction. Then if it doesn't work, we check our negative next before we go to the next coordinate. So we have A1, A2, sorry, A2, and our Z, right? So this is H, K, and L. So traveling on our, so from our point of origin, right, traveling on our positive direction, it leads us nowhere, right? So we erase that, we know it is not positive. Then when we travel on our negative direction, which is backwards here, we are able to touch the shaded portion. But there's something very tactical about this shaded portion, right? We traveled half the distance before we got to this very point. So we are not going to denote it as 1, we'll denote it as half, right? Excuse me, we denote it as half. So some people might be asking me, how did I know it is half? That's because it's traveling like on a diagonal like this. So like literally that is like half the distance. Since it's a diagonal, it's splitting right through it, making two equal triangles. So I'm going to denote that as half, negative half, sorry. Remember, that's the negative A1 direction as stated here. Excuse me. So erasing that, let's go again. So let's go again. So on our A2, we go this direction, which is +1. Very easy. Excuse me, let me write that well. Then for our Z, now this Z is very tactical. This is where a lot of us will make mistake. So how do I explain this? How do I explain this? I need to explain this very, very well so everybody can understand. So I have to recreate this image, copy, how do I do? Yeah, copy, then paste. Okay, so just manage this diagram I want to use in explaining what happened here. So our plane traveled this direction, like it went this way, right? So let's assume, looking from the top, this is our plane. This is our plane, right? And this is our Z. So as you can see, this plane is cutting at the half of Z. It was not coming this direction. If it was coming this direction at the top here, we'll call it 1. But since it is cutting at the half portion, like it's cutting in the center right here, so we are going to denote our Z as 1 because this is our point of origin. So when we travel upwards, we stop here, which is half the portion. But if we are travel and we get to reach here, like the plane was leaning here, we'll call it one portion, but since it's not leaning at the top, it was leaning half at this point, so we are going to call it or denote it as half. I just hope that explanation works well for a lot of people. So again, I'm going to explain that again. This is our plane, this is our point of origin. So traveling from our point of origin upward on Z, this is our Z, it is half. We get to reach here to denote our plane, right? We didn't get to get up here to know our plane. So yeah, that's that about that. So we're going to denote that as a positive half. So since we have halves, since we have fraction, we have to take the reciprocal, and let's do that now. So let's take the reciprocal, -1. So this is going to become -2, this is going to remain 1, and this is going to remain 2, right? So this is our hk. Also looking for our I, which is equal to -h plus k, all into brackets, equal to, so minus open bracket, what's our h? Our h here is -2 plus 1, our k is 1, so therefore our y, so here we're going to have a -1, so minus cancels minus, therefore our I is equal to 1. So for D in this exercise, our indices of the plane are bar 2, 1, 1, 2. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and peace out.